I'm excited. Nubia, a reimagining, a breath of fresh air to an old character. Uh, the art is by Robyn Smith, here with the wonderful multicolored hair. Bex Glendenning worked on coloring. Bree Henderson, lettered by Ariana Maher, and written by L.L. McKinney, of course, author of Blade So Black, Blade Too Black, Blade So Black. That's what it is. So I'm just going to get into a little blurb and then we're going to jump right into the questions, if that's okay with you. Again, I'm your host extraordinaire, host in front of no audience because COVID, but M. Shy Dash is my name and I'm with Black Sci-Fi TV. So the original YA graphic novel is an endearing tale filled with heart and wit and follows a teenage Nubia as she learns to embrace her true self in a world filled with racial inequality, police brutality, school violence, and other timely issues affecting young people today. The book is a perfect read for teens ages 13 and up and hit stores at online retailers on February 23rd, 2021. Bam. You're just like, she's so extra. I am.
I love it. I love it.
So either of you can jump in with these questions and just sort of pass it back as you will. But I first want to talk about the legacy and tradition of this character, iconic, DC character Nubia. So the comic book world welcomed Nubia in 1973, which to some little Gen Z kids or whatever you call the kids who are on TikTok today, whatever their generation is, seems like a long time ago, but not that long ago. Not their oldest character, of course, but it's been a character that's been reimagined time and time again. This bad Black double to Wonder Woman, but a character in her own right. And it's been reimagined a couple of different times, a few adaptations. What drew you to it? What are you bringing to life in this new adaptation for young adults?
I have loved Nubia since I found out about her when I was little. I was in library and there was a comic rack and there's this Black woman, gorgeous Black woman, and she's duking it out with Wonder Woman. And I'm like, who is this? I need to know her. So I picked it up and I read it and I'm blown away and I'm in love. And, as time goes on, I catch snippets of her here and there. But she's been, for lack of a better term, in my eyes, she was demoted. She was Wonder Woman's twin sister, and then she went to being like, the Amazons are not basic in any way or form. But to go from being Diana's twin, same powers, same everything, to being just another Amazon was a demotion, in my opinion. And every time she popped up, it was as someone who wasn't her original. And so when I was asked to pitch a Young Justice graphic novel, I was like, I'm gonna sneak Nubia in. That's how I'm gonna do it. She's gonna be a side character in this That's how I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna put her in here. They're gonna print her some kind of way. But they ended up loving her on her own. And they were like, can you pitch us her? And I said, absolutely. Yeah, you want to just do Nubia? Sure. Yes. Yeah, say less.
Give everybody else the boot, right?
Right. It's like, I will kick all of them off. Yes. And so that's how it happened. And so I pitched Nubia, but I pitched her as, it was YA, so I pitched her as a teen, but still Diana's twin sister. It's explained in the graphic novel. People are asking how they twins. One's a teen, one's grown, but it works out. So that's how I got introduced to Nubia. And I was really happy to bring her back to her origins in this story.
I am here for it, especially the part where you just roll up and just like, hey, I'm rooting for everybody Black. So we're just going to do Nubia and that part. Robyn, maybe I can gear this question a little bit more towards you. When you guys were, the pitch is done and you're ready to pull together the team, did it come together organically or did you already have in mind, like, this is who I want on my art team and this is, or how did you guys come together to work on Nubia?
I knew no artists. Those aren't the circles that I travel in. Like, I knew of people who I had seen on Twitter, but I didn't know anyone's professional portfolio. So I just throw hashtags at my team. I'm like, if y'all need Black artists, here are the hashtags. But I need a Black woman. I need a Black woman to draw this character. That is my line in the sand. And they brought me Robyn, and
so Robyn,
was it like beautiful? I have no words for Robyn.
Was it a moment for you when they were just like, we want you?
Oh yeah, I mean, the first email that I got at the time, I had only ever worked on one other mini comic that people knew about, called Wash Day. It was all about Black hair and Black women. I did it with Jamila Rouser, I only work with Black women, it seems, and also I that's how I'd like to keep it. But yeah, no, I actually got an email from the editor, Sarah Miller, and I just saw DC at the end of her email, and I couldn't believe it, because I was like, where did she even find me? And at the time, I didn't even have a website, so she actually had to email me through my store. And I just remember being like so embarrassed, because I was like, well, my email isn't anywhere else. Yeah, I don't know. It was really exciting. I thought it was a prank for a while. I thought
really
had set up a fake email and was like, because it was also like the fact that I was being asked to try out for a job, and also it was about Nubia, who I knew was like a Black woman, and again, like all my comics are about Black women, and I was like, everything's lining up too much. Like, this isn't real. But
I'm telling you, definitely been flattered. Anyway. People went to great lengths to get you to procure you. So hopefully there was also a little bit of flattery in there for you. Hopefully you were just like, well, I mean, they found me.
I knew I was up against other artists as well, so I was like, no way, because again, I hadn't really done much. But then I got it, and I remember just jumping up and down.
Did you pull in the other artists who did the color and the lettering, or did they all come from different spaces?
All different spaces.
Okay. All right. So, oh my God, there's so many scenes that I really want to delve into the story, but I more so just want to stay on point, because I know that I've got a lot to get through. So I do want to hit on the point that it's a great time for YA. Like, it's just like booming. I mean, and it arguably always has been, but I'll just say for Black YA. Let me just say that, right? So it's an amazing time for YA literature, or otherwise, little mini series, whatever. If it's YA, we want it, right? Are there any projects, comic books or not, anything that you've read in the past that made you like feel like, you know what, this is kind of like what I want to bring to Nubia?
Oof. There were stories from various different comics, of course. I think a lot of it for me came from the animated side for DC, because that's where I got most of my early on knowledge about the characters. Because, you know, we had comics, but I am also a huge like Spider-Man fan. So that's what my parents were feeding me at the time, because, you know, money and such, you got to pick one. So this is what you gonna do, right? So I was really into like the Justice League, the JLU, and the animated series, and Batman the animated series, which gave us Harley Quinn. And so like thinking back on Harley and how what was supposed to be this throwaway character from the show has become an iconic character, I was like, I want that for Nubia. That's what I want. I want people to fall in love with her so that she's around for the rest of forever. So there wasn't a particular story that I saw. It was more, I want what happened with that character.
Listen, I'm looking forward to a bunch of big-haired girls in pink clothing rolling up with their newly imagined, you know, Nubia cosplay on TikTok and in other spaces. But moving forward, both of you, I imagine you've seen the Wonder Woman movie. I'm not going to get too deep into what your opinion is of that, but I'll only ask, do you see yourself pushing this project towards small screen, big screen? Like, what's in store for Nubia after it becomes a big smash hit, which we know that it will, obviously?
You go, Robyn.
I think so. I think I just want to see her animated. That's that's like the dream right now, to see her like actually in motion. I mean, it's all fun, like recording myself and then snapshotting that and then using that as reference to draw the comic book, but actually seeing her like move in her like
I'm sorry, is
form.
that your process? I had
Oh,
never
yeah.
knew that. That's pretty cool, actually. I learned something today. Go on.
Yeah, no, seeing her, whether or not it's like an animated series, because again, I love Young Justice, and I would love to see just a Nubia like animated series, because I want to see her like going for seasons strong. But I mean, if it also had to be an animated movie, I would also be okay with that. Yeah, I want to see her hair in motion. Really, I keep doing this because that's what I want to see.
Okay.
Oh man.
So before I get into my fifth little nugget, there's so many scenes that I love. I think my fave is when, I'm not going to give away too much, because we have readers, I don't want any spoiler alerts, but there's just this really sassy scene in the kitchen with her mama. She's been through like an ordeal from hell, and the mother just like grounds her, and then after it all, just a little pat on the back and go do your little TikTok thing or whatever she says. And I'm just like, this is just so like, you know how you're reading something and as a Black woman, I'm digesting it like, yes, I feel the Black writers in the room, and you can feel it come through. So I'm excited. I just wanted to just let you know that the writing is just so strong, and I'm sure that's why you got tapped to do the project. But what out of this story, and there's so many things, but what do you want to be your main takeaways for your young audiences who are going to be, snatching this off the shelves digitally, and in person?
The thing I want people to take away from it is, yes, Black girl magic, Black girls are strong, Black women are strong, but Black girls deserve to be loved and protected and nurtured and taken care of, regardless of what they can be seen as contributing to the overall community or not. Like, their worth isn't tied to their actions. Just because of, by being, they are worthy. Like that is what I want people to take away from it. Yes, she's a superhero. Yes, she gets to do all the superhero things, but at the end of the day, she's a Black girl who goes home to her mothers. And I just want people to see that part of it and take that away from it, that the Black girls in their lives or just passing by are deserving of everything that is given to Nubia in the end. So that's what I want people to take away from it.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Love it. I have to refrain from saying periods. So the period wanted to come forward. It wouldn't be period. I'm trying to refrain from that, but I'll just do the snaps in place of the period. Robyn.
I think, I don't know, just Elle, you just made me so emotional. It's the same thing I want readers to take away from the book. And I also want like readers to see themselves in the book, not just through like the drawings and seeing like a Black girl, but also like, again, the writing, the way that all the characters interact and like what they do and like the way they dance at the party and like the choices they make, because again, we're two Black creators and the colorists are also Black. So it's like, it's Blackness the whole way through, and Black people reading this will pick up on those things. Like, we're not trying to exclude anybody, but at the same time, like the nuances of the characters and who they are and what they do and how they speak are something we don't see that often in YA, especially. So I hope that readers just enjoy it and hope that they'll like get to see more of it from us and others.
Well, I definitely hope to see more of it. And speaking of more of it, it's plug time, ladies. It is that time of the half hour. Please let me know any and all projects that you are working on. LL, I already know what you're about to plug because your name has come across my digital desk quite a few times this week alone. So I'm gonna let you kick it off, or whichever order you guys want to go in. But I want to know what's up next for Mr. Robyn and Miss LL McKinney.
Yeah, go ahead, Robyn. I want to
okay.
know. I want to know what you're doing, because I'm like, where can I get some more art? Because just quick aside, they sent me Wash Day when they were like, this is one of the artists that they want, you know, here's the consideration. And reading through it, I got to a point in Wash Day, I was like, yeah, like I feel I already knew what I knew when I saw the art, but this just solidifies it for me that we made the right choice. So I want to know what you're doing, because I'm a fan.
So perfect.
I'm
That's
a
such
fan.
a perfect.
Thank you. Well,
thing.
I am working on the Wash Day graphic novel right now with Jamila Rouser. So Chronicle Books actually picked up the mini, and now we're doing like a whole graphic novel, and it's going to be called The Wash Day Diaries. There's more characters. Of course, they're all Black girls. It's just Black girls being cute, and it's all about Black hair. So
listen, when I take these extensiones out of this head, the Wash Day is going to be serious. So I will be partaking in this gift that you're giving to the world, because it's going to become a collectible. I'm sure that such names as Ari Lennox may have it on their feet. Like, I'm speaking it into existence for you, because it is something that binds us together, this tumultuous, joyous day of letting that water hit that scalp. So thank you for your contribution. And now, of course, LL, would you like to tell us what you got going on?
Absolutely. The second part of Future State, Immortal Wonder Woman, has the second part of the Nubia story, where I got to do grown Nubia out here as Wonder Woman, which was another like, what?
So good. It's so good.
It's so beautiful. Aletha, I have been blessed by talented Black women artists all around. I just really have. So that's what's coming down immediately. Of course, Nubia, Real One. My other series, the Nightmareverse series, has the third book coming out as well. That's later on this year. And I got other retellings in the works, because that's where my prose and the YA publishing scene is where I started off. So I'm still deep in there, but I'm kind of digging this comics thing. So I'm hoping to get my hands on several others. Like, I'm like, can I mess with Vixen? I want to do like Bumblebee. Like, let me, whoever's listening, I want all the things. So I'm greedy.
For me, when I came across your IG and you were just like, I'm taking y'all's fairy tales. And I was just like, you know what? I'm going to like this interview. I'm going to relax. I'm going to get it together, because she's clearly this is a fun woman right here. This is a fun gal who would say something like that. So it has been an immense privilege. I think we did pretty good, a little over time, but I think that, that's not necessarily the worst thing in the world. I've had a great time talking to both of you. I'm excited. And I think it's going to do well. I know it's going to do well. So I hope to see it on the small screen, big screen, all the screens. And Nubia, Real One, perfect name, by the way. Perfect name, excellent writing, beautiful artwork. Ladies, thank you for being with us. Again, I am M. Shy, Black Sci-Fi TV, M. Shy Dash. And thanks for having interviewed you.
So you kind of touched on a couple of characters that I guess this is the fun kind of geek part. Nightwing, Vixen, like what are other characters that you would love to, have a shot at, have a chance to pitch for?
I pitched Marvel a Jericho Drum. They call him Dr. Voodoo. I would just call him Jericho Drum. I don't like the name Dr. Voodoo. Yeah. I pitched them that. They've been sitting on that.
Okay.
I don't know if they want to do it or don't want to do it. I don't know if they have plans for the character. They might because of Doctor Strange. I just don't know. So sitting on that. I wanted to have Forge. I have a pitch in for Forge, but I'm never going to get my hands on Forge at this point because of what they're doing with the mutants right now.
Yeah.
It's never happening. I also wanted this character Lila Cheney, who's a mutant also. Never see her. She's great. I got a great idea for the Blue Marvel.
Oh man.
I talked to Kevin Grievous about it.
Yeah.
He's like, dude, that's dope. And I'm like, yeah, if they let you take if you ever get to do your own character you invented again, you please do that story. I won't be mad at you. Go have a ball, but somebody ought to do it. So I want that. For DC, I mean, I kind of got my hands full with these. If they did a Vixen, if they let us have what we want to do a Vixen, then I would have my hands full. But and the John Stewart book's going to be like the John Stewart Green Lantern is going to be sick. So that's a lot. I like over there. I like. Oh my God! I got a Bronze Tiger story that they're never going to let me do. I pitched them a thing for Black Hawk, which I don't know if it'll work as it was written because of things that were going on at the time that are now not going on anymore. Yeah. But that was a complete revamp of the Black Hawk concept. It had nothing to do with the original Black Hawks. It was just the name Black. Dan was like, the deal was like, well, you can pitch on anything except these things because we're at pitches in for him. And I'm like, well, you got Black Hawk up on the board. He's like, yeah, you can do anything you want with Black Hawk. And I was like, what does that mean when you say anything? Right? He's like, anything you want. You can take the title Black Hawk and do anything you want with it. And I was like, oh, all right, well, I'm going to do this then. And he was like, that's kind of dope too. Let me see if we can fit that in. So, I mean, I wanted to say I wanted the Legion of Superheroes, but I don't know. That's a big team. That's a giant team. And Bendis has his thing with it right now. And sometimes what you want to do doesn't match up at all with what the company's trying to do with a character. Okay. So, like, there are characters I want to get my hands on, but they won't. The odds are low that the company would let me do what I want to do with them. I got an idea for Steel. Okay. That, but again, remember, it's a company project. So the things that I would do that would radically change the character in some ways is certainly their visual look, right? Right. There'll be some fan backlash. Like, there's a lot of fans that like that big steel plate S on there. That's going if I ever write the book. That's like out. Like, gone. That's issue 1. That's getting burned off by somebody and not coming back, right? But if you want to get another thing they'll never let me do. All right. So I talked about this on this other podcast. It's been in front of my brain now. I love Cassandra Cain, Batgirl. Right? Okay. Yeah. And the young people don't understand that she was the Batgirl. Like, when they made her Batgirl, they broke the mold on that.
With the full face mask.
Oh my God. Yes. She could beat up Batman.
Yes.
Like, she was hard as hell. Yeah. And the sweetest person. It was great. Right. And if you go pick up those trade paperbacks, you can see why there's all this love for a character that most people don't even know was Batgirl, really, except it's like, oh, she used to be Batgirl. Yeah. Right. Like, if you go read those actual stories, you're going to be wanting her to be Batgirl again. Right. But since she's not, and is not going to be, my thing was, once they named her Orphan, which really broke my heart, because I felt like that was more like, we don't know what to do with this character, so let's just lean into it and call her the Orphan, because she is. We got nothing for her, nothing to do with her, but the fans won't let us kill her off, basically. So she's the Orphan. So let her be that for a while. But that puts her outside, really, the structure. If you take, this is the way my brain works. Naming her the Orphan means you're saying, she's technically part of the Bat family, but she's outside of it because she's an orphan, right? She's not really one of the Bat daughters. Barbara's a Bat daughter. Stephanie's a Bat daughter. Yeah. Cassandra's an orphan. You said so yourselves, right? So at some point she goes on her own journey, right? And who does she bump up without the name, with any of that? She just gets into a case, and she finds Catwoman on the other side of that case. And Catwoman's like, "What are you doing here, kid? Did Bruce send you? I told him to stay out of my business," right? And she's like, "I'm not working for that man. I'm doing my own thing. Who do you think you're talking to? I will kick that ass," right? And so you had the obligatory little fight. She's like, "Right, you could kick my ass. So what are you doing here?" Right? She's like, and then she tells him, and it all pours out like, "I'm not really part of anything." Right? Bruce has his team. They're all used to each other. They do what they do. Half the time they don't even talk to each other. They just know each other. And he's out here. I got the code name Orphan, which I don't, And she's like, "Stop. Let me stop you right there, kid. Tell you what. Strip off all that crap. Come roll with me for a while, cat girl." Cat girl. Right? So she rolls with Selena for a while. Yeah. And she realizes, I can relax. I don't have to worry about all that bad nonsense. I can just be who I want to be. And right now I want to be Catgirl. But here's your real twist. Catwoman's an outlaw. Half the time she's a criminal. So Cassandra wouldn't stay with her past a certain point. As soon as she really did something criminal, she's out.
Yeah.
Right? So she leaves her, and who does she run into? Batwoman, who doesn't have a sidekick. So you'd have Batman and Robin, and Batwoman and Catgirl.
I like it.
That's what I would do.
Yeah.
DC ain't letting me do any of that. But that would be my plan for Cassandra. I love Cassandra. Me and my boys just geek out on her all the time still. Another wasted opportunity for Birds of Prey. What they did to her in Birds of Prey, I was like, why even bother calling her Cassandra Cain?
It was like I said, it was mess. She's I have those collected trades in like the long box, and her design, and not even, her character is awesome. But when I first saw her with that face mask and it's like stitched up, and it was just what's the story here? And
people don't even get it. Like that design, like the idea that you didn't have the white eyes, that it was just black with stitches, and it's like she was like a homemade bat costume. Yeah. Like, what is all this? And she's ugh.
And you dig into her background, and it gets even better. Because we're kind of coming close to time, and
your world, man. I'm here as long as you want.
Gotcha. Okay, so one of the things that I just didn't want Zoom to kick me off, so I'm just like, let me do this, and if it does, then we'll just jump back on. So
you can pop back on here. Yeah,
bear with me. So one of the things, and we talked about this off air. So so for a minute, DC Comics had a history, Big Two had a history of not hiring people of color, when it came, black folks to write these books, or these heroes and heroines and all of these, just pretty much all these characters that we love. And within the past few years, it seems like they're realizing that and just kind of tapping into the talent, like yourself and a lot of names that we've kind of
Ridley,
brought up.
Easton, Thomas,
exactly. Regine Sawyer, N.K. Jemisin, and that between you and Jemisin, I have not been as excited for Green Lantern in a while.
Frankly, she's a hard act to follow, man. Like was a perfect comic book. She's like from the planet of writing.
It is beautiful.
Far Sector is a perfect comic book.
And Jamal and Campbell, is it Jamal Campbell doing the artwork on it? Yeah.
Oh my God, that brother.
That team.
Wow.
That team, and it is beautiful work. And when I saw the main character call somebody Sadiddy in that book, I was just like, I had to stand up and walk away from the book, and my wife was like, "What are you doing?" I said, "She just called somebody Sadiddy in space." And it was just like, and it was, what? Yeah, she was just like, what? So, but
Laura is amazing. She's truly an amazing writer.
I mean, she's one of the best science fiction and fantasy authors of all time.
In history.
In history.
Yeah.
So,
like, DC, this is the thing. She doesn't need DC. She clearly wanted to do this.
Exactly. Right? I think I read a book that she did a Mass Effect novel. Okay. And it was beautiful. It was like, her.
I did not know that. I'm gonna have to get it.
Yeah, her doing licensed work is just a beautiful thing.